and this year. My name is Daniel Tisch. I'm with Argyle Public Relationships. We are an independent firm that specializes in citizen and public engagement, and my colleagues and I are here today as impartial process facilitators. Our objective is to deliver a process where everybody can learn, and more importantly, that everybody can be heard. And so today we're going to do the three things that are on the slide above my head. We're going to debate how the city can balance its books and its long-term priorities. We're going to collaborate with community organizations, many of which are represented here today, and with the city and with each other. And together, we hope, create a financial path that brings us closer to the city we want. So we recognize that in this room, people come to this discussion with different levels of information, different history, different experience, different knowledge, different education. And so our first step is to try to equalize the room a little bit and get everyone on the same page so that those who are joining this dialogue for the first time have a basis of information, but we also want everyone to understand the nature of the city's challenges right now. And so to do that and to frame some of the key issues for us, it's my great pleasure to welcome Rob Rossini, who is the city's Chief Financial Officer and Deputy City Manager. Rob.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, so I'm the CFO. Before I bore you and put you to sleep with this presentation, here's your last chance to get out. Sun shining. No? Okay, beautiful. Well, thanks a lot, everybody, for coming. I appreciate it, especially on a beautiful April day when the sun is shining, because I'm sure there's lots of nice, fun things to do in this city. But I'm very, very glad to see that so many people have come out on such a nice day, because what happens in this city really matters, and matters to not just yourself, but your neighbors and everybody else that calls Toronto home. So that's great. So, you know, what we do with your money really matters. We are the 6th largest government in the country. We spend about $15 to $16 billion a year. So it matters. It's your hard-earned money, and the services that we invest in matter to people because it changes lives. And it's important. And what today is we want to listen to you and hear what matters to you, what's important, what are your priorities, how we should govern ourselves. And we've got a couple tools lined up for the day to do that, including we've got a survey that's going to be running till about May 14th, and that's on the web, so I encourage you to check that out. So we have a great city. At least I think we have a great city. I'll let you be the judge of how well we run this city. But we in a number of international surveys, we used to, land 15th in the world, 20th in the world. More and more of a lot of these international city surveys, we're landing in the top 5, in the top 2, and even in the best, whether it's the most environmentally friendly city, the most livable city, or what you see up in front of me, the most tax competitive city, best value to invest and create jobs. So we are a global city, we're a competitive city, and we're on the world stage, and people are taking notice of the city of Toronto. And as I said, we're economically important. We spend about $15 to $16 billion a year, so the decisions that happen in this chamber around council are important. They affect your lives, they affect jobs, they affect children's lives and seniors and everybody and all the services that we do. And speaking about those services, they matter. I mean, just think of it. If the city of Toronto as a municipality went away for even a day, how would that be? You couldn't turn on your water, put out your garbage, no traffic lights, no roads, not to knock my federal brothers, but if the federal government disappeared for a month, it would take a while before you noticed, but not your municipality. So what we do here matters to people's lives each and every day. And because of that, we're talking about what kind of a city do we want? We're going to have a fiscal conversation about the monies we raise and how we spend them, and how do we want this city to look and feel, not just for the people that live in it today, but the people that will be here tomorrow and our children. So council's looking at some strategies right now. Under our long-term financial plan, we have to think about setting our priorities, governing ourselves, making the right investments, and then, of course, all those investments have to be paid some way or the other. And that's the conversation nobody wants, right? I'm the tax guy. You really don't want me knocking at your door, but if we want a kind of city to look a certain way, it takes dollars and monies to run that. So that's why we're here, to get your input in terms of how best to invest monies and what are our priorities and how should we pay for them? Because there are a lot of different ways to pay for things. So just a bit of context. Every year, it seems, we have a gap. We have a budget gap. Expenses are rising faster than revenues, and we say, oh my God, Rob Josie, our Executive Director of Financial Planning, who runs the budget process in her team, says, fix it. Why? Why do we have this budget gap? Well, there's a number of reasons why. Spending and spending wishes and the things that people want and council wants, those expectations are rising, and they're rising faster than our ability to actually generate money. And here's the $64,000 question or the problem. People want more services. We need more affordable housing. We need more monies and investment for anti-poverty. We need more transit, lots of transit. We need to fix our roads, but people also want low taxes. And that's a little difficult to do in a big burgeoning city like the city of Toronto. So balancing our budget, we've been doing it every year because municipalities have to have a balanced budget. We don't run any deficits, so it's balanced. But we've been doing it sometimes on some what we call bridging strategies or unsustainable measures. Take monies from reserves, take monies from prior years, defer things, phase them out 4 or 5 years. But as our city manager says, there's only so much kicking the can down the road that we can do. And what we're trying to do under this long-term financial plan is saying, okay, no more kicking the can down the road. What is it that we're going to do and how are we going to do it? So we have some structural problems and we need long-term solutions to fix them. So it's not rocket science, right? Because if it was, I'm too dumb, I couldn't do it. So to balance the budget, what is it we got to do? You either got to cut spending or raise revenues. To do that, then you get our balanced budget and you get the city that you want. Nobody likes cutting spending, but we know that we always, as an organization, need to get better. We need to get leaner. We need to make sure that we deliver quality services in an efficient, effective manner. So that goes without saying. So we will always look at our spending and our program delivery to make sure that we are doing things as efficient as possible. But those efficiencies will only get you so far. We've been doing -5 and -10 and this past year, -2.6% budget cuts. And there's only so much of that you can do. But our team here at the City of Toronto is always committed at looking at how we deliver services. So a key thing then to balance our budget going forward in the future will have to be revenues and the kinds of taxes or user fees or what other kinds of revenue tools that we want, be it road tolls or whatever, to finance the services and the investments that people want. So there's lots of things that we'll have to look at. Today, back in the fall, late fall, we did a phase 1 consultation about revenues and expenditures. This spring now, we're focusing on our phase 2 consultations, the long-term fiscal plan, and today is about governance and decision making. How do we set our priorities? How do we organize ourselves? And what's the best way of doing that? And what are the things that matter to people, to businesses, to everyone that calls Toronto home? How do we structure ourselves around this chamber and our committees? What are the right powers that council has? Should we have more? Are there different ways of organizing ourselves and structuring and delivering services? And then what is the relationship between our long-term finances and what we aspire to do versus our actual capacity and ability to afford to pay for some of these things? And what is your role in all of this? How do we engage the public? How do we provide information? How do we get feedback? So all of this is important, and this is the second part, the second phase of our long-term fiscal plan. So the consultations, as I said, we had our phase one that focused on expenditures, revenues, and today it's about governance and decision making. We're going to have a number of workshops for you today. We have an online survey, and we'll be coming back with a long-term financial plan or direction report, likely late summer, maybe early fall. We'll be going to council, gathering all the feedback, what we've learned through our 2 phases of consultation, and setting out a plan or a direction of possible directions, because there may be a number of options that we may lay out for council to consider. And that comes us to you. So we want the public's input today on these important issues and making sure that we build the kind of city that people want. We can build it on the cheap, if that's what people value, low cost. We can build it much more better if people can afford to pay more or want to pay more. So today there's going to be a number of sessions set up to get your input on these kinds of questions. We have a website, investinginto.ca, and then also toronto.ca/LTFP, which stands for the Long-Term Fiscal Plan. I encourage you guys, everybody, to look at those, and you'll get more information. We also have a Twitter and Facebook ways with social media on getting engaged as well. And as I said, the survey is open till May 14th. So have fun today, look, listen, and then give us your feedback. And thank you very much.